Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, I'm coming back to you with another video this week. Again, thank you so much for all of your guys' support. I really am just super thankful of how far this channel has come, and it is going. Now, today, again, Velocifier sent me a new board. It's the Dream 75 Hall Effect board. So, I mean, it's gonna be interesting. It's designed by Bat Knight. It came in this almost like looks like a gift. Looks like it literally is a wrapped present. So let's go straight into the unboxing, and please make sure to like and subscribe.
Now, starting off with the unboxing of the Dream 75, thank you again to Velocifier for sending me this out. Now, opening up the box, you have to notice though, right? Like that box was like a gift design. So it comes with this braided cable, very colorful, almost kind of like a Christmas theme. I guess not, because not much green, but really colorful, braided. Kind of reminds me of the chill key cable, but not. It gives you extra switches, key cap puller, switch puller. Now, we're going to open up this keyboard to take a look, to see what we're getting. And I'm kind of curious exactly how this will sound too. I thought that was a sticker, gonna be honest with you. Thought it would be like a nice cool sticker, but it was not. So let's open this up. Now you have it wrapped. It comes with this nice casing. So it's actually the wrist rest. I find that this is quite an interesting design to offer a wrist rest and it to be pretty much closed up so that you can actually take it on the go if you'd like. Very interesting design, but it doesn't really stay closed, so kind of interesting. The material of the wrist rest we'll go over a little bit later. Now this is a plastic board. It does have a switch for like the Windows and Mac mode, has different angles that you can set up as well, and this wrist rest that you can move up to close or open up and use as a wrist rest. Now, of course, we're going to weigh this board before we went to the sound test. And as you guys can't see it here, it's about 1.27 kilos. Let me just give you a better look before we go into the sound test. Now that we're done all of that, I want to show you guys a little bit of a preview. I would go quick through like a time lapse of how I got this open. So we're using this tool set. It's like the iFixit electronics opener kit kind of toolkit. We're going to get this in to try to get around the corners. I'm looking for pretty much when you're opening up a plastic board, you want to find the weakest point where the latch is easily able to come off. that's going to be the best way to open up something like this without breaking a latch and breaking the board itself. So please keep in mind, you want to do this with a tool. Do not do this without the proper tools. You might break something, which is not fun to deal with. And sometimes if you don't do it correctly, like I've broken many boards before, you really want to get to the sides where it is already unlatched. And then from there, you want to try to put the space in between other areas that aren't fully latched, just to be able to get the whole thing apart and then fully open. So we're able to get it all opened up. It wasn't too difficult. It does have these magnets to keep it in, but I don't actually see any magnets on the bottom of the board where it's supposed to latch. So kind of interesting that the magnets are there, but they don't really do much. It is like a gasket mount, has a aluminum plate, so a nice aluminum plate on top. And I'm going to give you guys a little bit more of a closer look to the stabilizers to show you what we're looking at. So it is a plate mount stabilizers. They don't really come well lubed stock, but it doesn't actually have too much tinging, which is great. I did enjoy that. The fact that it didn't have too much ting. It does have a nice foam between the plate and the PCB. You also get this really thick foam on the bottom. Really impressed. They actually put a lot of work into having a nice foam right underneath, and also a silicone padding underneath at the bottom of the case, which is great. And it's not like a hollow silicone, which a lot of cases do, and I've seen a lot of boards do. This one's actually a fully like packed silicone and foam. So gotta admit, they put a lot of work into trying to make this thing sound good. I actually was quite impressed. It looks like there's some space there too, where maybe like a battery or a weight could have gone. So I'm curious about that. If they did go that route, what it would have been like. But let's go into the modding of this. So I'm using tape to just do a tape mod. We're going to do 2 layers, very basic. I think it's the easiest thing to do. So we're going to quickly do 2 layers, and then I'm not actually going to be modifying the spacebar on this one, because I found that the spacebar wasn't too bad. And sometimes if you mod a spacebar when it already is okay, you just get this mushy sound, which isn't always the best. So this time around, I'm not going to do that. We're going to quickly put this whole thing together, and let me give you a sound test for the fully modded board. So I think the sound test was really great. Like in terms of this board, pretty impressed with how it sounds. Now it is a plastic board, so you're looking at a full plastic build, and it does have a switch for a Windows mode and Mac mode. I find quite interesting that it does have that. For those, I guess, who are using a Mac, you can definitely change it to use it with a Mac. And as I said earlier, like the wrist rest, it's actually detachable as well. So you can actually take it off or put it back on depending on how you'd like. Now, it's supposed to be leather. So it's supposed to be a leather-based wrist rest. I don't know if it is actually leather. I'm going to be honest, it didn't feel like premium leather. Like comparing it to, say, like my other stuff I have that are made, that's actually leather. It kind of felt more of like a foam. And yeah, I mean, it almost feels like something that like over time it will deteriorate. I don't know if you guys can really hear like the material of it. Sorry, I took a pause to see if you guys could actually hear something, but yeah, I mean, it feels like something that over time might deteriorate and kind of start ripping apart. It does get really warm too, right? So it is quite, I don't know. I don't know if it is real leather. It's really hard for me to say, even though they're saying it, they're using premium leather. It just didn't feel like it, like when I compare it to, say, like my leather wallet or my backpack that has leather on it. Now, as I said, this is detachable and attachable, which is a great benefit. It's not too hard to actually do. You actually have to just put it in, squeeze the latches, and then it'll fit right in, and then you can actually get it perfectly attached without an issue. Now, you will have to kind of like make sure you angle it correctly though, because if you don't, right, your wrist rest is going to be backwards. So that is something to note. Now, as I said, it's like very simple, very easy to do. The thing is though, it really comes apart super easily. Now, it's supposed to have like that magnetic latch that's supposed to like really keep it in. It actually doesn't, and found it quite interesting. And as I said, like this is something where if you have sweaty hands, it's not going to be the greatest wrist rest to use. You will feel that sweat get really into it. That's something that I felt while I was putting my hands on it, like wrists on it. If you're in a place with a warm or your room's warm, just know that it's going to feel extra warm over time. If you're someone that has very cold hands, maybe that is good for you. So could we depend on the person, right? It's really a personal preference thing. I just personally rather use my wrist rest, which is like a wooden one, compared to this one. Now, this is with a knob, which is nice. So you do have a volume knob. You can control your volume. It does give you different angles, like 2 different angles, well, 3 total. The lowest point is quite low, actually. Like I'm surprised it has that much. Just giving you like a very slight bump on the edge, and then it gives you a much higher one. So the angles, I would say the middle angle is a bit awkward. Now, I'm pretty sure the magnets there are meant to be to keep that together, and that it sticks and it will stay as needed, but the magnets are not placed aligned. It's kind of weird. I don't know if this is meant to be like that. It is a little bit weird, I have to admit. I would have thought in my mind that the magnets would be aligned so that when you close it, the wrist rest will stay instead of being able to easily be moved. So this thing comes with the Sky magnetic switch. It is a box stem switch, Hall effect, and I have to admit this thing sounds really great. I was quite impressed with the sound of it, especially this board stock sounded really great, and I didn't feel like there was a lot of scratchy tinging sounds from it, as well as the whole board in general was quite well done. Has a nice light diffuser as well that allows for the RGB to come through, and you don't get stem wobble, which is great to have specifically with the Hall effect board. Now, of course, I do want to show you guys the backlighting test to show you how bright is this board and the switch. So let's get straight into that one. So I give you guys just a little bit of light turning off slowly, and then you guys can see the lighting, and then bam, you can see how bright is it. It's not that bright, honestly. One thing I noticed is that the lighting on this one, the switch, even with the diffuser, it is not super bright. So keep in mind, you will get some lighting. You will be able to see it. It just won't be incredibly bright, say, compared to, say, other boards out there or other switches out there that have a better backlighting and having a lot more clear on the top housing. So after the lighting test, I would like to go into the website, just show you guys a little bit of the information. So it's supposed to be 8,000 polling rate, which a lot of boards are doing nowadays. It does have quite impressive information, I would say, in terms of like the fact that they're saying it's unique, designed with the hi-fi sounding, like supposed to have really great sounding. It's supposed to have this high protein leather. I don't think it's actually that premium leather, gonna be honest. It is supposed to be a really great gaming board, and they're supposed to give you a driver right there on the website. So on Velocifire's website, you can easily just access it. It says right there, driver. You can download it. Just be warned that when you are trying to install it, it's going to give you a little bit of a warning. So just keep that in mind. Now, going to the software, the Bat9 software, it's not well done. I'm going to be honest. It's really unfortunate that a lot of it's still in Chinese. I don't know what it's saying. I'm not Chinese, so I can't really tell what is what. This is in English, by the way. Like I've said it as in English as the language. And as you can see, there's still a lot of Chinese. I wish they probably did a little bit of a better job in terms of doing the software. Unfortunately, it's not that well done. Compared to, say, other boards that I've tried, you really are getting just a very basic software. Now, you can luckily see like a demo of what you are using on the switch, what you're pressing. It's able to show you the actuation. It's able to show you how your presses are going, which is a great feature. I think every single Hall effect board should have that feature in their software to be able to see exactly and demonstrate like what it is you're doing with the switch, just so you know what your presses are like, right? Like how you should be pressing it and how hard are you pressing it and how fast are you going down. So just so you know what kind of actuations you're looking for. It does give you the different profiles. Unfortunately, again, I don't know Chinese. I can't really figure out if there is a layer profile section. Like, you know how there's different layouts, or you can have like your basic keys and then you have the function layer. I don't know where that is, and unfortunately I'm not able to find that. The lighting doesn't really work. I use custom lights, try to set it as like a single light, and I kept pressing it. You can see it move and change in the software. It was not updating it in the keyboard, but the other ones were working fine. So if you use any of the other ones, it does work. It's just a custom light for some reason doesn't allow me to choose the specific lighting color I would prefer. That's just an unfortunate thing that I noticed, but it also kind of shows that the software is not perfected yet. Over time, I'm sure that they're working on it and they're going to make it better. But at this moment, the software is still lacking quite a lot. And that's just something that I don't think is the best thing to experience if you are using it. Now, as you can see there, it's a lot in Chinese still. Like they really should update it a lot more with the English, especially if they're expecting to really get more people using it that are English speakers, and even other languages actually. Now, another thing I also noticed is you don't get snap tap, mod tap. You don't have a lot of those other extras, which I was quite surprised to see. Now, this is $140 at the time of this recording, and actually going back to the website, I did notice that it was on sale for about $129, so $130 USD. Keep in mind that this is pricing can change. There's always gonna be sales back and forth. It just depends on when I'm recording it. But let me give you guys a keyboard inspector, just kind of to see, is it 8K? Does it get the 8K polling? Of course, this isn't the most accurate testing. I can't give you guys, say, like the latency, exact latency in milliseconds, but this is kind of the best way I can do, showing you guys how it is getting to the 8K point, and it is an 8K keyboard. Now, actually going in game, right? I love to show you guys some gameplay footage using it in game, giving you guys my experience with it and playing Apex. And the reason again why I do Apex over other things, I know a lot of people use Hall effect boards for like CS and Valorant. I'm just not a CS and Valorant player, so unfortunately I can't do breaking and I can't show it off like how good it is. But what I can do is actually show you guys in Apex Legends how Hall effect boards are kind of useful. So in terms of like say battle royale purposes, it's very simple to like use pick up items and such, and there's a specific movement which is called super gliding. Super gliding is required to be pressing your control, like your crouch and jump at the same time, or not exactly same time, but like in a very very short frame difference. And the reason why I like Hall effect boards is it just makes super gliding much easier because it has to be frame perfect. Now, Hall effect boards allow you to choose the actuation point, meaning it allows me to change up the actuation depending on how I press it to make super gliding so much easier. Is this a necessary thing to play Apex? No, of course not. It's just, it makes it easier, and I like using it when I can. And of course, I wish I was much better at it and, you know, making it 100%, but that's just how it works. Now, the reason I hold a shotgun is when you super glide with a shotgun holding a shotgun bolt, you're actually able to see if you pulled off a super glide properly or not. So if you pulled off a super glide after you, it will actually reload. And if it reloads, it means you pulled off a proper super glide. So that's one of the reasons why I like to hold the shotgun to do it, just because it helps to prove that I actually got it done. Now, in terms of using this board, how was it in terms of setting it up and using Hall effect and, you know, trying to these different movements? It was fine. And the thing is, I'm gonna be honest, most Hall effect boards are gonna be able to do so now. I will find that the market has now changed where pretty much every Hall effect board is gonna be able to do just that. Right? You're gonna be able to do the basics that you need. It really all comes down to is, how does it feel? Like, do you enjoy using it? Is it comfortable? Is it useful? Do you find that the software works well? Do you find that the keyboard doesn't have any input lag? And that's going to be like your main points, right? It's like the basics of how does it feel? How does it sound? Is it durable? Does it have any connection issues? Do you find that the software is good enough? Do you like the price? And those are the key points that I find for these boards. And of course, there's going to be some other extra features that some people would like to have and some people don't mind. Now, the reason why I'm just moving left and right and doing that crouching is some holophonic boards, I find that the crouch spamming doesn't work really well. Of course, you can change the actuation about it, but for this one, I found the crouch spamming worked incredibly well for my timing. Again, it's because of my timing, so how I press the control, it's just, it worked really well for me. Now, everyone's going to be different of how they do it, but this board, in terms of just actual using it in game, not even considering anything else, worked really well. I found that it was quite impressive with what it was able to do. Though, to be fair, considering the price, it's not really on the budget side of holophonic boards anymore. It's actually, I would say, about the middle range, because now there's boards out there that are like $40 USD. So keep that in mind. You're looking now at the middle range of holophonic boards. Now, of course, this is just me keep practicing with this to get used to it. But of course, let me get into an actual game and show you guys a little bit more of a gameplay footage. So as I was mentioning earlier, where holophonics are useful. This is specifically when picking up items, right? So I'm in a rush to pick up items faster than others, especially if I'm landing with another person or team. The holo effect of having my pickup button, right, key, like the E, at a quick actuation really does give me that advantage. Is it a great advantage? No, it's a very small advantage. The reason why it is an advantage though, is the fact that if we're at the same ping, everything considered the same, right? Everything considered the same. You know, what am I looking at in terms of the advantage? Well, it's how fast is my press going through, right? Like how fast is that information getting sent to the servers? And well, Hall effect really allows for that, right? Is the fact that it's like I'm able to truly quickly pick up something if I said like ping everything considered the same. It just gives you a very, very small advantage, especially if you're not a quick response person like myself. I'm very slow at looting, so it just helps me loot a lot faster, especially if I want to open up a death box and I want to quickly pick up an item or armor swap. Using a regular keyboard, I noticed that I'm very, very slow at it, and holophonic boards just help me get a little bit faster, not a ton, just a little bit. Overall, while I was playing Apex, I really did feel like it was quite comfortable for me to get used to the board. I wasn't too bad. I did find there were certain points where I was mispressing keys though. I think because I'm so used to different type of layout, so it just took some time to get used to the layout itself. But in general, it wasn't that bad. Like I mean, every keyboard is gonna be like that, right? Like it takes time to get used to the specific tools that you're doing, and everyone is gonna be, of course, going through different time, and it takes time, right? Everything takes time. But in terms of actually using it and playing, you know, for a couple weeks with the board, trying to get used to it and playing, it was very responsive. Like I felt it was responsive and I wasn't having any problems with it. I've had issues before with other holophonic boards where, you know, I just felt like I just couldn't get used to it, and the layout and specifically the shape of the board just felt really, really uncomfortable. This one was actually fine. It was worked well for me in terms of playing the game, especially you have to understand though, like a keyboard isn't going to make a huge difference in terms of your gaming, but it does help a little bit. And as you can see here, like I'm just spamming crouch and it worked well, even though I ended up losing because another team came in. So going into further of the review and comparing it, of course, with other keyboards, right? Like ones that are kind of similar layout is going to be my Wooting 80HE. And of course, there's the Newfie Air 75HE. So one of my thoughts of comparing the two, the Wooting is about 200 USD, right? So around 200 USD. The Dream 75 is sitting at the 140 USD when I saw it. The Air 75 is sitting at about 120 as 130. So when you're considering all these options, right, like the Air 75 is a low profile. So of course it's a different layout complete. Like it's going to feel different than the Sport. The Wooting 80HE on the other hand is more expensive, right? You're looking at about $60 at least, like minimum of a difference. But is the $60 worth it? Now, that's going to come down to your choices. Are you wanting the better software and support, or are you wanting to go with a board that does sound really great out of the box, feels good and works well, and just get your basics for Hall effect, like your basics out of a 75% Hall effect board? Then this is something you can definitely take a look at, right? Like I'll have, of course, all the links to this board, the Dream 75, in my description on Velocifire's website, and you can take a look at yourself if you are looking for a nice sounding one, right? Like I would say, pretty much at the end of the day, if you're looking for something that sounds good and just gets you the basis of Hall effect with 8K, take a look at this. But other than that, I would say check out the Air 75 or the Wu-Ting 80.
Now, let me know down below in the comments what you guys thought of the Dream 75. Now, honestly, for the price of about 140 USD, is this worth it for a Hall effect board? I think it is well done. I love the fact that, yes, you can take off the wrist rest and it comes with a wrist rest. Mine, for some reason, had the sticker, the silicone on the bottom, kind of like coming off right here, as you can see. It keeps coming off. I can't get it to stick. Now, do I think this is worth the $140 USD price range? It does sound amazing. I think out of all the Hall effect boards I've tried so far, out of box, this is probably the best sounding one. But there's one caveat: the software. The software is really not great. It's still in Chinese for most of it. You don't even get like the profile or like the function layers available in the software. The software is almost a bit sketchy in a way. So it's like really hard to say for me that this is like, yeah, you should go and get this Hall effect board because it's like $100 something and it's cheaper than other ones. But when I consider it, right, like you look at the Newfie Air 75 HE, you look at the Wu-Ting is like a huge, completely different category. The 80 HE for Wu-Ting is like much more expensive, right? You're looking at probably around $80 more than this one. But would I say it's better to probably go with, if you're going to be getting one around this price range and it's a 75% board, for the software support and I would say like the longevity of it, maybe a better choice. This one does sound amazing though. I have to admit, it does sound really good. I was quite surprised with that and well pleased. And if you are someone that maybe wants that more, definitely you should take a look at this one. If it is something that you're interested in, I'll have the links down below in the description so you can go take a look at it on Velocifire's website. And I mean, if it is, I guess I said, the key points that I'm going to say is worth it for anyone that is looking for a Hall effect board is this. 1, it sounds really great out of box. 2, it comes with a wrist rest. And 3, the software does work in terms of Hall effect, like rapid trigger. Downside, you're missing like mod tap, snap tap. You're missing those things. You're getting a software that is still missing a lot of the English and isn't heavily Chinese. So 3, you don't know where your information might be going when you download this driver. So keep in mind these facts when you're looking at this. And remember, it's $140 USD like price tag. So there are so many other options out there. And I wouldn't put this above, say, like the Air 75 HE or the Wu-Ting 80 HE. That's just my opinion and my thoughts. So you should always decide on what you think is best for you. I only give you my opinion from what I've tried out and all the different things that I tried out. Of course, hoping to save you guys a little bit of money where I can. So I'll catch you guys next time. And please go check out the other videos I got.